Dear cultured and knowledgeable audience, we end the year with both second-hand embarrassment and much satisfaction. Because the famous steamroller of the fourth transformation, that Morena machinery they promised in 2018 to sweep away all the rot, is barely held together with pins. Yes, it is wobbling, and don't believe the mafia entrenched in power, the current one of course, that keeps insisting everything is going smoothly. The ship called Mexico, which was already taking on water with the original captain, now sails with Claudia Scheinbaum and seems more like a shipwreck than a safe harbor. Let's get to it. That 2018 steamroller only worked for the leader's first 6-year term. Now, in Act 2 of this tragicomedy, all those myths created from his personal Olympus, which the so-called good people supposedly idolized, have fallen. The first myth to fall was maroon invincibility. Let's be honest, Morena was the new institutional revolutionary party that won everything until, surprise, the people decided they didn't give a damn about the election. Do you remember the epic battle for the direct election of judges that the Macuspano pushed for and that Scheinbaum, like an obedient echo, proclaimed? People cared about it as much as Citlali Hernandez cares about dieting. Not at all. With that, the narrative that the people were demanding, insisting, and crying out for such a transformation fell apart. It wasn't something the average citizen worried about at night, who is still more worried about not being robbed on the highway than about how judges are chosen. The fall of myths brought down the farce's operators, tinged with disaster. We're talking about leaders like welfare chief Andy Lopez Beltran and Luisa Maria Alcalde. And what about the maroon herds in Congress, led by Grandpa Monster, Adan Augusto Lopez, and the chameleon-like Ricardo Monreal? All of them, absolutely all of them, amid scandals of corruption and opulence, are marked by such a huge discredit that not even the avalanche of propaganda they pay for with our taxes can erase it. The National Electoral Institute, that organization that promised to be autonomous and for the people, it got burned so badly there aren't even ashes left. It submitted admirably, allowing the National Palace to impose overrepresentation in the lower house, a chamber now lower than ever. He ignored court orders like suggestions and approved the famous cheat sheets, so that voters wouldn't get lost in the complexity of democracy. Autonomy. The word only exists in dictionaries, not in the reality of this now defunct body. The cause of this Morenista collapse is no mystery to anyone who can see past the morning press conference. The comic, magical musical matinee now known as Of the People. The tally of the damage is epic. An authoritarian, corrupt government that imposes and ignores daily lies, or, as the boss says, other facts. The intolerable alliance with organized crime, hundreds of executions and extortions, an impunity that criminals, police officers, soldiers, and prosecutors enjoy with enviable cynicism. Moreno is in tatters because his great ideas for transformation are a kind of time travel back to the ideas of the 60s and 70s. They abandoned their principles, if they ever had them, of honesty, integrity, and loyalty. Faster than a politician changes parties. They broke every promise, worsened polarization, and, most importantly, they've ignored Mexicans' main issues: security, health, education, inflation control, and justice. They eliminated the autonomous organizations. That crucial counterweight limited the executive's power, but it also deterred investment, leading to unemployment. And corruption. It's the cherry on top, the star ingredient. If federal elections were today, Morena, despite wasting public resources, likely even with investment from their organized crime accomplices, they would barely reach just over 10 million votes, nothing more, and I'm being generous. Now the golden question: who benefits from this shakeup? Unfortunately for the battered Mexican democracy, the answer is that the opposition is on the floor. The shakeup benefits no one but himself. The sole major winner of the Morenista crisis is clearly Jumento Macuspano. He is the great architect and purist, even purging those unfaithful to him, like Prosecutor Hertz. The only real enemy of the new regime is outside, not because he cares about our country, but because he's looking out for himself, and that's Trump's policies against organized crime. The fourth transformation's survival is at risk in Washington, not at the National Palace. The old saying says it all: He who never had and suddenly has goes crazy. Quoting the great Jaime Bailey, "The right steals when in power, but the left steals on an industrial scale before, during, and after gaining power. Because they are inept people who have seen money, who are not capable of creating wealth. When the left senses power and settles in, you see how they steal, which is what we're witnessing. And this so-called left, in quotes since they're as leftist as I am Nordic, who promised social justice and austerity while living surrounded by luxury. They weren't against the power mafia, they were just upset they weren't part of it. Now, they are that mafia, but even stronger. The shortest path to opulence has always been leftist rhetoric. They use people at the bottom to get to the top, then forget about them once they're there. They also use hatred, as it has been a profitable tool for tearing apart the social fabric. They plant resentment in us so that we tear each other apart, while they take the money and our hopes. With this reflection, I say goodbye. The problem is corruption, and that collectively, in the vast majority of Western countries, we let the politicians, from the left, right, from above, below, from the center and inward, turn into their own privileged social class, where, mysteriously, they all become millionaires, while the rest of the people become poorer. There's no political solution. They make us fight each other so we won't organize against them. Here you see the real struggle is universal. Those at the top versus us, and those at the bottom. We, the citizens, are the solution. Will we ever understand that? Remember that you can make your donations via PayPal. You can find the relevant information in the comments section. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications whenever there's new content. Thank you.